I've never believed in ghosts, demons, or cursed objects. I'm a software engineer from Oregon. I deal in logic, code, and things that can be explained. But after what happened last summer, I'm no longer sure the world is as simple as I once thought. It started when my grandfather passed away. He was an archaeologist who specialized in Middle Eastern artifacts, spent most of his life traveling between Iraq, Syria, and Jordan. I barely knew him, but he left behind a huge old house near the woods in Ashland, Oregon. I inherited the property, and while cleaning it out, I found something I wish I never touched. The attic was a time capsule, dusty maps, old books, strange statues. But in the farthest corner, behind a crate marked "Do Not Open," I found a small, carved wooden box. I know what you're thinking. I should have left it alone. But curiosity is a hell of a thing. The box wasn't locked. Inside was a velvet pouch tied with red string. I opened it, and out fell a strange black stone with ancient markings, a yellowed feather, and what looked like a tiny human tooth. I remember holding the stone and feeling an immediate drop in temperature, like someone had opened a freezer behind me. That night, the dreams began. I was in a desert, standing before a crumbling ruin. There was a man in robes, his face entirely blacked out, whispering something in a language I didn't recognize. When I tried to run, I couldn't move. Then I heard it, a growl, deep and otherworldly. Over the next few days, things got worse. Lights flickered. I heard scratching behind the walls. My phone would ring at 3:13 a.m. every night. No number, just whispers. Then one morning, I found the black stone in my bed, though I had locked it in the attic the night before. I took the stone to a university friend who specialized in Near Eastern studies. The moment he saw it, he backed away. He told me the markings were a form of pre-Islamic binding script, something used in rituals to trap entities. He didn't want it in his office. So I did what any American with too much time and a creeping sense of dread would do. I went down a rabbit hole online. Reddit threads, obscure forums, even YouTube channels with 5 views warning about Middle Eastern spirit bindings. One name kept popping up: Djinn, beings of smokeless fire, ancient and cunning, neither demon nor ghost. Dangerous, especially if freed. I reached out to a paranormal investigator named Daniel Wolfe. He used to work with the Vatican on exorcisms, but now runs an occult research group out of Nevada. I overnighted the talisman to him. 2 days later, he called me in a panic. "Did you break the seal?" he asked. I told him yes. "Then it's already attached to you. I can't remove it, but I can tell you what to do. You need to return the object to the place it was bound." "That's the Middle East," I said. "Then you'd better pray, because if this is what I think it is, it doesn't stop. It waits." The next night, I woke up to someone standing at the foot of my bed, a shadow impossibly tall with glowing eyes. My room was ice cold. I couldn't scream, couldn't move. Then in a voice that was both outside and inside my head, it said, "Mine." I ran, left the house, slept in my car for a week. I started wearing a crucifix, reading from the Bible, even visited a local mosque to ask an imam for help. Nothing worked. The Djinn, or whatever it is, doesn't care about religion. It cares about the deal that was broken, the prison that was opened. I went back to the house one last time. I wrapped the talisman in salted cloth and buried it beneath the floorboards where I found it. I poured holy water, burned sage, read every prayer I knew, and then I left. Do I think it's gone? No, the lights still flicker when I walk into a room. I wake up with sand in my shoes, and sometimes just before I fall asleep, I hear that voice again, whispering from the shadows, "You freed me, now you are mine." If you ever find something ancient and strange in an attic, don't open it. Don't touch it. Some things weren't buried to be found. They were buried to stay hidden. Dumb. I thought burying the talisman would be the end of it. I even convinced myself for a while that it worked. The house felt quieter. The shadows stopped shifting. The phone calls stopped, but peace is a liar. 2 weeks later, I received a package, no return address. Inside, a single item, the stone. That cursed black stone, the one I buried under the floorboards. It was clean, no dirt, no signs of ever being underground, just waiting. I dropped it and backed away, heart racing. Then my TV turned on by itself. The screen flickered with static before showing a desert, the same desert from my dreams, the robed man, his face still blacked out. Only this time he pointed directly at me. I screamed and unplugged the TV. The image remained. I left the house that night, booked a motel 2 towns over, slept with the lights on. But the entity followed. It no longer needed the talisman. I was the talisman now. That's what Daniel Wolfe told me when I called him again. His voice was heavy, almost guilty. You were the one who broke the seal. That makes you the vessel. It's part of you now. So what do? I asked. Silence. Daniel? I repeated. He whispered, you'll have to trap it. Bind it, like your grandfather did. But this time, the cost will be different. The word cost hung in the air like smoke. That night, I dreamt of my grandfather for the first time. He was sitting cross-legged in the attic, drawing symbols in a circle with salt and ash, the black stone in the center, and something watching from the shadows, hissing through a cracked mouth. When I woke up, my nose was bleeding. The bed sheets were soaked in sweat, but I knew what I had to do. I drove back to the house. I gathered salt, candles, rope, and everything I could remember from the dream. I drew the circle exactly as I saw it. I placed the stone in the center. Then I stood outside the circle and said the only words I could think of, I return you, not to your freedom, but to your prison. The floor shook. Lights exploded. A wind roared through the sealed house as if the walls themselves were screaming. Then it appeared, a creature made of smoke, with burning eyes and a face that shifted between human and beast. It laughed, the sound vibrating through my bones. You think you can bind me again? It roared. I didn't respond. I stepped into the circle. Pain shot through every inch of my body. My vision blurred, my ears rang, but the wind died down. It was working. Then, with a final shrieking howl, the entity vanished. The stone cracked in half, the candles went out, and everything went silent. Now, it's been 6 months. I moved. I changed my name, burned every book my grandfather ever owned. But sometimes when I walk past mirrors, I don't see myself right away. Sometimes I hear my name whispered by voices that aren't there. Sometimes I dream of deserts again. I don't know if I trapped it or if I just let it in deeper. But if you're reading this, and you ever find a box you don't understand, a talisman that feels too heavy, a voice in the dark calling your name, don't answer, don't open it, because once something ancient sees you, it never forgets.